good morning, Atlanta. Good morning, Southeast. Good morning, East Coast. Good morning, West Coast, wherever you are. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I wonder where New York is. Where's New York? New York is not here yet. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for opening your calendar. Mark, thank you for being here. Lori K, thank you for being here. Mary Campbell, Wendy, Eric, Robert, thank you all for being here, for opening your calendar, for looking at your daily activities and say, I'm going to open up the calendar. I'm going to be at the Daily Huddle for a minute. Thank you, those of you who join us on Facebook, right, Rose, and everyone else. We appreciate the opportunity of spending some time together because we're truly committed to create a dent in the morning. We say here, the way you start your day gives you the rest of your day, and the way that you live each day gives you the rest of your life. So there's a power in how you stand in the morning. Very powerful place to look at. And so let's get us started. Lori K, where are you?
I am right where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, perfect.
Daily Huddle.
Mark, how are you?
I am how I say I am, Gio, and I feel fantabulous today.
Very good.
I just heard New York speak.
Where is New York?
Fantabulous is New York, my friend.
Yeah, no doubt. That's where I used to work.
Very good. And Saurel, good morning. How are you, Saurel? America's executive coach. Thank you for being here, Saurel, for founding, creating the Daily Huddle, where we have been able to reach over 160,000 people since we got started, Saurel. And it's all because of your love to humanity and your love for what's possible for human beings. Thank you for creating the Daily Huddle. So good morning. How are you? And what time is it, Saurel?
Giovanni, it is right now, exactly right now. And I could say that forever. It would still be right now. And so elated and so happy to be in this moment with all of you, especially with you, Giovanni, the #1 transformational leadership coach, my partner in doing all things crazy. If I come up with a crazy idea and I need someone to support it and run with it, that's that man right there, Giovanni. So Gio, thank you so much for being, it's like having a childhood friend and you go, let's go do this. And we know our parents are going to kick our tails when we get back and we do it anyway. So thank you. And Eric, thank you for being here this morning. I get the pleasure of introducing you. I'll be asking you a question at the end of my introduction of you. And Eric is a licensed professional engineer, civil engineer for that, right? And you might say, what's a civil engineer doing talking about zombie apocalypse? Well, you'll find out later. He's been responsible for nuclear safety related materials, 1,000-acre site developments, and has also been a principal civil structural engineer for a nuclear power plant construction project. His life was going great. And then in 2015, his father got ill. With family, an important part of his life, he took some time off from his engineering work to support his family. And in that time, he found his leadership. Engineering and design skills were invaluable in making his family's journey easier. When his father got well again, Eric returned to his previous company, but was left with a profound impact his skills could make in not just engineering buildings and site plans. With that realization, he founded his business with a mission to create and presence love and abundance in people and families, and effectiveness in companies and businesses. Have you ever noticed the gap between what you currently have and what you want? Take a moment to notice. Living the Designed Life was created to work with people, families, and businesses to help guide them to get clear on their big picture and build the roadmaps to get there. Eric's teams work with people and companies to take what seems complicated or invisible to them and break it down into clear, simple, easy, and fun methods that produce the results you want. Now, you will be amazed at the increase in time, money, and freedom created from living the designed life. And this morning, Eric's here with us to explore this question. Are you living in a zombie apocalypse? So, Eric, I'm curious, what is a zombie apocalypse?
Thanks, Saurel and Giovanni. So as people are going through our lives, we just are going through our lives without really stopping and thinking. So let's just examine those two words, right? Because not provocative or anything crazy, but I assert we're living in a zombie apocalypse. What do I mean? Well, a zombie is, if you remember when they're on the TV and things like that, they're basically unconscious, trying to eat brains and move around like and make noises, right? Not quite what I'm talking about. I'm talking about is that most of us go through our lives unconscious. We're not really present to what's going on. We are running unconscious systems and processes in our brains that have us do things in a certain way that we never really examine why they are that way. And we didn't choose them. So I'm saying that we're all zombies because we're mostly running unconscious or on autopilot. And I'll tell you a little more about that in a moment. The second part is an apocalypse. And it's basically a really big fancy word for the final destruction of the world. That's all. So how do these two things go together? And there's a lot of TV and people talking about, even the Center of Disease Control has something up on how to survive a zombie apocalypse, right? So there's COVID-19 and how to survive in a zombie apocalypse. That's what our government has given us to live, right? So apparently, well, what is this zombie apocalypse thing? What I'm saying is most of us, almost all the time, are running unconscious programs and systems, checklists in our head, and then we wonder why we can't get the results we're looking for. Well, we got those unconscious programs, systems, whatever, from wherever. It could have been the advertisements that we're watching that are being bombarding us and get planted in us. Could have been us growing up, a strategy we used once that was real effective, and now we never go back to it. And what we do is we look at where are you now and where you want to be. I call that the gap. And mostly we go through life and don't really examine how are we going to get, first, what do we want? Having it be clear enough that we know if we're even going to get it. And then how do we close that gap? How do we cross the gap from where we are and what we want? And I call that the gap. And what we do is we design a path with you, with your individual, family, or business, to take you where you are, where you want to be, and then design intentionally systems, practices, structures, existence, a lot of different things to help make it simple to get there. So kind of the way I see it is right now, you could keep the autopilot you have. So if it was a plane and you're flying and the autopilot's flying, wouldn't you rather have an autopilot that you designed that keeps the plane flying smoothly versus the one that keeps crashing you into the ground? And I found working with people is that with small changes, I found that those small changes, or many small changes, are what make the big difference in life. I'm sure everyone has done a spring cleaning. I'm sure everyone's done those, you got to clean the whole house because guests are coming over. And it takes a lot of time. It creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a certain experience for people that isn't usually a lot of fun. And what I found is small changes or making one change and repeating it continuously makes things very much easier, gives you that sense of freedom, often more time and more money available to you. So an example would be where you're having, you go pump gas in your car, right? Most people do that driving around. Some people, you have to go to the supermarket. I really hope people aren't sitting at home all day, every day. And you go to the gas station. And while you're pumping the gas, have you ever noticed there's a little garbage can almost always next to the pumps? Well, that's for you to throw your garbage in. It is actually there to throw garbage in. So if you took that 1 minute of pump while you're pumping gas to take the different things that are in your car, for me, it's empty diet soda bottles. When I go pump gas, I take the minute, pick them up, throw them out, and now I have a clean car. So that one minor change made it so I don't have to take 10, 15 minutes at some point to clean the car. I'm already at the gas station anyway. I might as well just throw things away. Or another example is I was working as an engineer and there was a soda machine, and I drink a lot of soda. You can judge that in all kinds of ways. Please don't hold it against me. It's a better addiction than many that I've heard of. And as I drink the diet soda, so I drink 2, 3, 4 bottles a day, and I was paying $1.30 from the soda machine, which was really a good price, I thought. And so that's like $5 a day, say. And I would go home, and then I'd go to the supermarket, and I would buy on the day when it was the absolute cheapest, I'd buy 10, 15 6-packs of soda for home and drink them at home. And I had this thought, well, why don't I bring that to work? They had a refrigerator. And I said, okay, well, let's try that. So I brought soda, I put it under my desk at work, put a 6-pack of the soda bottles in the refrigerator, still drank the same amount of soda, right? Which is way too much, I agree, but oh well. But what I found is when I bought it from the supermarket, it was only 30 cents a bottle. So the machine was $1.30. The supermarket was 30 cents. So every bottle I drank saved me $1. So you've probably heard of people who go, it's on sale, I gotta buy it. Well, this is kind of like that. Like, wow, I'm saving $2, $3 a day, which is $15, $20 a week, which starts to become real money. And if you were to invest that over 20 years, even $1 a year over 20 years at 4%, I know you're not going to get that now with banks, right? But the stock market outperforms that over 20 years. And over 20 years, $1. So if you pay $20 in, you'd have $30. So imagine, and that's just $1 a year. And I kind of thought about this a bit and went, what if people could design these simple changes with no change in your life, unless if that's what you wanted? And how do we design solutions to get you where you want to go? And most people I've worked with, I don't know about most, a lot of people have a tough time with what you want. So, and of course, you can hear the sirens behind me, right? Sorry about that. So you can say that, people are going through life here and seeing what is it that would make the difference for them. Do you want more happiness? Well, that's as valid a thing to want as anyone could want, right? People think that they want cars for happiness or these different things, but really people want happiness. Well, how do you know what happiness looks like? You'd have to design it. You'd have to distinguish it, figure it out, see what that is. So, and everyone's different. So as we go, we would start to distinguish what works for you. So for me, a to-do list doesn't excite me. It probably excites Saurel. Maybe not, I don't know. To-do lists don't excite me. You know what gets me to actually perform tasks that I know I need to do? I call it the gold star method. Do you remember we were in kindergarten? And when you got something right, or you did something and you were good, and to promote our good behavior so we could be really great adults, and we're like 5, 6 years old is, wow, you got the homework done. Here's your gold star, right? And there's a big board and the game was to collect gold stars. Well, I found for me, that really is a tool that has me get the things I want. For Saurel, that may not work. For Saurel, it might be to be really productive. He has jazz music in the background, and that just has him somehow focus on what it is he wants to be achieving. It gets him present, snaps him right into some state that has him go produce the results he wants. And I'm particularly picking on Saurel because it's fun, right? So that's most of what I really see is, what are we doing now? We don't really examine it. And then I found most people don't notice that the results you're getting right now perfectly match what you're doing right now. And if most of it isn't designed, then whatever you're getting came from somewhere. And if you don't find what those things are, where they came from, I found isn't really that important. But if you know that it's likely you're going to drink a lot of soda, like me, you'd either figure out how to reinforce drinking soda, make it easier to get, make it less expensive, or you'd have to replace it with something else. So like right now, I've been starting to move off of soda and onto water. And with that, my natural tendency is not to do that, because my unconscious systems, or the zombie of me, has me naturally pulled to get soda. When I'm in the supermarket, I'm always getting soda. I don't think about it. Like, there's no thought process. Should I get the Diet Coke or the Coke Zero? It doesn't matter. It's the soda. It's the diet soda. There's no thought. And we go through life a lot with that kind of thing going on in our lives. So what I found is that if we stop for a minute, look at where you actually want to go. Where are you now? That's the gap. And if we close that gap through this intentional, conscious design, then we will get closer and closer to the things we actually want. Love, and for me, that's love and abundance in families. Something that I found from working around my dad, who always was very passionate about family. And as he got older, he was in a wheelchair, and I could go visit him in New Jersey. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I found that as we went, he had challenges. Like, the microwave was over the oven. So it's 5 feet, 6 feet in the air, and he's in a wheelchair. He can't use a microwave. So as I was there, and he was trying to sort out his pills, but they were on a table that was higher than like a normal table. So he's up here trying to manipulate his pills so that he can manage his medicine. And he couldn't really see what he was doing. Once in a while, he'd knock the bottle over and spill 50 pills off the table onto the floor. We had an aide to help him, but he really wanted to do it himself. He always prided himself on being able to do those kinds of things. So as I saw one of these challenges, I went, well, what could we design that he could use to make that easier? So that was, we found a lower table. He was able to do it all himself, which is what he wanted to be doing in the first place. So that one change, like, what is the things that we're tolerating in our lives? Why does it go that way? I don't know. But there's a part of it where you can see as you go, there's this unconsciousness, and it's just being human. There's so many things going on around us that there's really no way to process all of it. You can't, I can't, no one can. So with that, that's the basic zombie apocalypse. We're all zombies. You might as well be a zombie and getting the things you want. So build the autopilot that gets you the things you want. You're going to be a zombie anyway, because there's so much of us is unconscious that you just don't even realize is going on. And a lot of it can be impacted by intelligent design or choosing things, and then certain methods that have them stick. So that's kind of the zombie of us. We're all zombies. It's not going away anytime soon. And the apocalypse is people are in these unconscious systems and not getting the results they want, and getting frustrated and annoyed, and unfortunately taking that on the people they love, I found. for the most part. I don't usually yell, except in the car, at someone I've never met. I just generally don't. But I do get a little snappy sometimes with the people I love. And it's all this unconsciousness that I want love and abundance in the family. And these unconscious zombiness is what has me running programs I didn't even install. But they do have it so that I have a certain life. And left to the way we have our unconscious programming, unconsciousness, and our environment, you don't have much of a chance to ever change anything, really, is what I say. You have to actually look at what's going on, examine it, what's causing that, make minor changes, and then you can really make a difference in your life. Yeah.
Eric.
Yes, sir.
You know, we could stretch this until the zombies come home, but we won't.
The zombies are home.
So thank you for creating this with us. So you know, I could say what I'm getting, but it's 24 after, and I want to create some time for the zombies in the virtual room to interact with the zombie where you are. So Giovanni, the #1 zombie in the world, what you got?
Well, I find it, Saurel, I find it to be a great inquiry, right? What Eric is pointing to. I think it's a great inquiry to look at, well, how much of my routines, how much of my daily activities am I really intentionally doing? Or there is a program in some degree, right? Could be explained that way. There is a program that is running, that is showing my daily activities. And, you know, Eric points it as a zombie life, but I also, I love the metaphor, but I also see the opportunity to look at, well, this really explains how absent I am to the present moment. So I found it to be a really cool inquiry, and being playful around being a zombie in my life really makes sense, right? And I have to suspend, if you will, I have to suspend the usual connection to a zombie, right? Like, blah, blah, blah. I have to suspend that to actually be in the inquiry for, you know, am I really present to my life? You know, am I really intentionally creating my daily activities? Or am I just truly just kind of on a program, on a, you know, like I wake up in the morning and I always do the same thing. I greet my daughter the same way. You know, I greet my significant other the same way. I am snappy at the same things. My business doesn't necessarily have a shift because I'm doing the same things. So the inquiry, I think, it's really fascinating for all of us to take on and begin that process of creating an intentional life, being intentional in the way I deal with my daily activities. So that's what I was getting, Saurel, and in the inquiry that Eric told us about, you know, consider myself as a zombie. So thank you, Eric, very much. Now, like Saurel was saying, I love to open it up for anyone who has a question or a comment. I love that. But I'll just throw a question for you, Eric. And, you know, however I'm going to ask this question, you answer it kind of a short way so that we can give people you know, some space to ask you more questions. So let's say I just take this on. You know, I'm a zombie in my life. What have you found that are critical inquiries or critical steps to like awaken ourselves from that zombiness that my humanity is?
Well, it all starts with distinguishing what you want and having it be clear and present. And without that, you can't do anything because you don't know where you're going. So any change, who knows what'll happen.
That's pretty cool. It all starts distinguishing what you want. You know, my father used to say a lot, Eric, Saurel too. He used to say, there's a difference between building the life you want and doing the things that you need to do. It's a whole completely different thing. So you're saying distinguish what you want gets you out of the zombiness.
Well, it's the starting point.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Lori K.
Find that mute button. I'm really enjoying this conversation because we certainly do fall into routines that then become hard to get out of. I took a course once, and something that helped me get out of the routine, and that helped me think about what I really wanted, was to do things like when I took my shower. We take our showers a certain way, to do the opposite, and to drive a different way to work every day, or maybe walk to your computer a different way these days, but to do things in a different way so that you're not in that rut. So you're creating different paths, and that helps you think about and become more present to what it is that you're wanting to create, because sometimes we're in this rut and we can't see above it and or out of it to something different.
Yeah, and another part to that is the things that are going great and the areas where we're really winning at. What if we're unconscious in those areas too? And we can make minor tweaks to take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, I like what you were saying about, creating, being a zombie for something that you want in your life is and make it become automatic, is not a bad thing. So maybe the ruts that you have are working, but maybe hitting them a little differently can really make a difference. Yeah. Well, I thought that was I was doing things while you were talking, and I'm going, wow, I'm not really being present right now. I'm being a zombie. And but I was hearing you, and I appreciate what you were saying. And I think there's probably a lot of parts of our lives in my life that I just do automatically and don't think about it. So.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So Eric, from one engineer to another, it's like, who would ever think about answering the question, I want to be happy. So the first step I need to take is to actually answer the question, what does it really look like in my life when I am happy? And then if I'm hearing you correctly, once I answer that question, which is the first step you're talking about, I then make one small change in the direction of what it looks like to be happy. And then when I get there, I get whatever I get, and then I make another small change. And then I make another small change. And I might even come back and look at the question again, what does it look like in my life to be happy? And then make another small change and keep doing that over and over. That's what I'm getting that you're pointing to. And
yeah, there's a Japanese term called Kaizen. And it's basically how Toyota became one of the biggest, most effective car companies in the world all it is continuous minor improvements.
Yeah. Continuous minor improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyone in the studio audience, the floor is yours.
One last question though, Saurel, because we're at 9:30.
Yeah, we're at 9:30. Just want to make sure there's none. All right, seeing none. Gio, go ahead and give Mr. Eric Englart his last words.
Eric, this has been a beautiful inquiry. Thank you so much, Eric, for the opportunity to have you and for sharing your knowledge and sharing the inquiry that you're in. I can completely see the difference that it makes to be in that inquiry that I'm living a zombie life. I do wanted to add something, Saurel, and not necessarily to expand on it, but I can't help myself, Saurel. I can't help but to see it, but to say this. Happiness is not some place I reach. It's a place where I come from. So I wouldn't tweak anything about happiness. It's about where I come from, not a place I reach. That's I wanted to add that as an opportunity for the inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly. And if one could be on a journey, and the journey is just a series of nows, and in each now, I practice something that is consistent with being happy. So yeah, it's not a destination. And
it really helps to be in Hawaii about it.
huh?
And it really helps to be in Hawaii.
Yeah, it really helps to be in Hawaii, right?
That's the part I'm talking about. It's more likely to come from happy if you're in Hawaii than some other places.
I love it. Thank you, Eric. Eric, what are your last words? What is your last word?
Well, I found I love working with people and families, and something that's really important to me is how to give back something. So for the next, until Thanksgiving, my company, we've decided to do is basically take any proceeds we get and donate them to a person, Maria Teslick, who's just an amazing person who's passionate about making a difference, service, and the environment. And she's been fighting through cancer right now, and the bills, everyone knows someone who has cancer, and the bills, there's no health insurance that pays for everything. And so I've got a couple of offers where if people want to donate, so I'm running 3 different things, and I believe Saurel put it in the chat, a link to a small form that you could fill out. So one is I have 4 slots left in my next 30-day book writing challenge. It's basically 30 days, about 15 minutes or less of exercises, and you'll end up with a manuscript that you can tweak, edit, get your editor set up, and start the process. I found a lot of people will never write their book without some kind of support structures, and this takes into very simple, small chunks that are 5-minute tasks or less. A second opportunity is on Mondays, I have a group coaching series where we look at particularly business and what are the things that people are early in their business building are looking to do, where the challenge is. I found a lot of people forget that the number one thing they should be doing is getting more clients, and they focus on things that are not required with where they are in their business. Third is you can have a complimentary discovery session with me or someone on my team and look at where are you now? Where do you want to be? Distinguish that so that it's easier, like Giovanni said, you come from happiness. That's easier if you have it designed to reinforce being happy. If your life is all these things that are miserable, it's very difficult, I found, to come from being happy because the environment just doesn't pull for it. So there's a link. It's a short form with your name, contact information. You'll go to a second page with a PayPal link. Anything you want to donate is fine. If you don't, that's fine too. We're providing the services for those 3 opportunities for anyone, whether you donate or not. And I just found for me, it's really important to make a difference for the people I care about. And I'm sure most of you are the same way. And that's why we've decided to have all the proceeds go to just an amazing person in my life who makes a difference in hundreds, if not thousands of people a year. And with that, enjoy your zombiness. We're going to be unconscious most of the time anyway. You might as well design it versus just however you ended up in whatever kind of zombie you are. Eric, thanks for the opportunity, guys.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Giovanni, I also want to acknowledge the presence of some people who are here for the first time. There's David Pay and my good friend Michael Harris. Thank you for being here. And Wendy Hoffman, thank you for being here. And if I missed anyone, just know that Giovanni and I and the Daily Huddle family really appreciate your presence. We could be speaking to nobody, but the fact that you're here gives our speaking meaning and significance where you are. So thank you for being our partners in creating this conversation and having it make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, we're having our good friend Rose Hampton on. And Giovanni's going to have a question for you that you're finally going to guess. And it will be funny. All right. Until tomorrow, gang.
Bye-bye, everybody.